I hadn't seen it in action.
Yeah, I gotta tweak a little bit, obviously, but there's always things to fix. And then what happens is they self-review it up here, they self-review it, and they have, that day we had 3 or 4 other people review their page and put the marks on here. And after that happens, then you go through this process at the end of it. It goes back to the original designer, and they have some review questions they have to answer. But the thing I'd added on was on the back, is I had them, so here's our long-term target. I can produce this accurate, interesting, informative yearbook. This more on it. But so I had them write their goal for their layout that they were working on the back of this document first before we did this side. So then after they wrote their goal for it, because we had just started this layout, we were 2 or 3 days in. So what was their goal for it? And then after that, then they did the self-review, their review of it, and then we had the peers review it. So that was kind of the end.
And then you collected the evidence. And this is one review for one time, and then you have others.
Right, we would do this kind of on a weekly basis, sometimes bi-weekly. So that you can see the progression. So like, since we first started, most of these should have been once, right? Which you can see that,
there are.
Right, there's a couple, there's 1 for, depending on how much they were, but most of these would be in the 1 or 2 category.
Right.
That's what I expected, and for the most part that was true. Some kids that were farther and faster and were moved over, but nobody got all 4s. This is all stacked up together.
And so are you like charting this?
Well, that's the weird part. I mean, I can, so like this is Vanessa, so if I have her first one, second one, and third one, then you can see the progression when you lay it out in this rubric document, because it's clear that early on they have a bunch of ones, and it just gets better week to week. So I also have them keep a printout. See, that's your layout to start with.
Of it, okay.
Of it. So they print this every week, and then next week this will have pictures, this will have more text, it will be done.
Right.
So by the time they're done, they'll have like 6 or 7 generations. So that's the evidence of the progress, and then we keep this in their portfolio. And so then at the end of it, we can show them the progress that's been made.
And then they can reflect on the whole process.
Yeah.
At the end.
That's the idea.
Yeah, I've done that with portraits. And each week taken progress on.
You take photos of those?
I have.
Because the document's a living document, whereas I can print one out from.
But
I can't print this out in 2 or 3 weeks.
I've actually taken
It doesn't
photos
exist.
weekly or bi-weekly as they've progressed. And then I've had them in the past. So it's similar. I like it.
So I was trying to connect, by writing on the back what their goal for the thing was. And then when we went out and you watched this, I was trying to get the connection between the long-term goal of our class, which is to make this yearbook, plus their personal goal for that document, for that they were working on, via the rubric of how to improve that document week by week to connect to the long-term goal.
So they understood what your goal was, that they would make the connection between what they were doing that day with this.
Right.
That there really is a purpose for all of this.
Right, that in the end, this is what we're doing all this for.
I think that's what I feel like the weakest stat too is how do you get them to make that
Right,
connection?
just see beyond the
So
moment.
how did you feel about it? What did you think in the end?
I thought they kind of connected with it. I mean, they did, because they've heard this repeatedly, but I don't know that I've ever truly tried to make the connection on a day-to-day basis. Even though I think subliminally they get, okay, in the end we have to have a good book, but to actually consciously make the decision that, okay, what I am doing today and my growth does affect that in the end.
Right.
Because if it doesn't, then we need to figure out why not.
Right. Now, how long have you been doing this type of reflection in the process to that target?
This
I
year.
know you've used that target before.
The target's been up there.
Right.
I've had that for quite a few years. But
So this is your first year that you've been doing this type of sheet and reflection?
Yeah.
Okay, what did you do in the past?
I had peers self-review it, go over it, and look at it.
At the end?
During the process.
During the
So this is more formalized process than I did in the past in terms of documentation, which I didn't do the documentation in the past. So it does take time to do the documentation. I give up a lot of time to do it.
Yeah.
And I think in the end, again, like it says, data. I mean, like I asked you, like how do you measure that data? I can show that the document improved. Is that good enough data visibly in the arts to see that the transformation where it started to where it finished?
In my book it is, but and since I count, yes.
I hate to stop, but we're probably running out of time.
Yeah, that's